This is section 4.4 part 2, where we're going to continue factoring trinomials with a leading coefficient that is not 1. All right, so we're going to look at the form ax squared plus bx minus c. So because we have a minus, all right, we know we're going to have one positive factor, one negative. Right, so we want to find the factors of a times negative c. One factor is going to be positive, one's going to be negative. Those factors will add up to a positive b, so that's going to tell us the larger factor is going to be positive. So let's come on down. We'll look at number 1, which is 3x squared plus 5x minus 12. So we'll find the factors of a times c, or a times negative c in this case. So 3 times negative 12. 3 times negative 12 gives us negative 36. So we want to find the factors of negative 36 that add up to 5. We know the larger factor is positive. So we'll start with 1 and 36. Larger factor is positive. Negative 1 plus 36 is going to give us 35, which is nowhere near the answer we want. We want 5. So let's go to 2. 2 goes into 36 18 times. Again, larger factor is positive, smaller factor is negative. Negative 2 plus 18 gives us 16, getting closer to 5, but still not what we want. So let's try 3. Does 3 go into 36? It does. 3 goes into 36 12 times. Remember, larger factor is positive, smaller is negative, so negative 3 plus 12 gives us positive 9. Closer to 5, still not there. So what about 4? Does 4 go into 36? It does. 4 goes into 36 9 times. So we've got negative 4 plus 9 gives us, hey look, 5. That's what we want. So our factors here that we're interested in are negative 4 and 9. So just as we did in section or part 1 of this section, two quantities separated by addition. Drop down your outside terms. Since my 12 is negative, I now have a minus 12 here. We've got negative 4, so I'll put negative 4. Remember to add the variable x to it. And we'll put in 9x here. So remember, whenever you're plugging in your factors, you're always adding the variable x to it. So now we're going to factor the GCF out of this first binomial. And our GCF is 1x, or simply x. Factor out an x of 3x squared. We're left with 3x. Take an x out of minus 4x, and we're left with minus 4. GCF between 9x and 12 is 3. So 9x divided by 3 is 3x. Negative 12 divided by 3 is negative 4. We know we're in good shape because we have two binomials that are exactly the same. And then we're going to also be interested in this x plus 3 on the outside. So the two binomials that are exactly the same, we write that those binomials once. So we've got 3x minus 4. And then on the outside, we see we have x plus 3. So there's your answer. Let's try a second one. We've got 4x squared plus 19x minus 5. Find the factors of 4 and negative 5. So 4 times negative 5 gives us negative 20. Find the factors of negative 20 that add up to positive 19. Remember, larger factor is still positive, so let's start with 1. 1 goes into 20 20 times. Smaller factor is negative, larger factor is positive. Negative 1 plus 20 is, hey look, 19. That's what we want. All right, it's nice when we can get it on the first try. So, got our two binomials separated by addition. Drop down those outside terms. Plug in our two variables. So I've got minus 1x. Plug in 20. So I've got 20x here. GCF between 4x squared and 1x is simply x, or 1x. 4x squared, take out an x. Left with 4x. Negative 1x, take out an x or divide by x, and we're left with minus 1. GCF here, it looks like it's 5. 20x divided by 5 gives me 4x. Negative 5 divided by 5 gives me minus 1. Looks nice. We've got two binomials that are the same. We have two pieces outside the parentheses, which we'll use as well. Two binomials that are the same. We write that once. And then what's outside in yellow, we write that as well. So we've got 4x minus 1 times the quantity x plus 5. There's your answer. All right, last type of trinomial is ax squared minus bx minus c. So again, since we have a minus c, we know we're going to have one factor that's positive, one factor that's negative. And you're going to get those factors after you multiply a times negative c together. Add them up to get negative b. Since we want to get a negative b, we know the larger factor is going to be negative. So let's come down and factor 2x squared minus x minus 3. So we're going to find the factors of a times negative c, or 2 times negative 3. That gives us negative 6. So we want to find the factors of negative 6 that add up to negative 1. We know one factor is positive, one's negative. Because this middle term is negative, our larger factor will be negative. So let's start out with 1 and 6. Larger factor is negative. 1 plus negative 6 is negative 5. It's definitely not negative 1. 2 goes into 6 3 times. Larger factor is negative. 2 plus negative 3 is negative 1. That's our larger. That's what we want. That's our b. So we've got our two factors here of 2 and negative 3. We've got two quantities separated by addition. Drop down those outside terms. Plug in. Well, I'm going to actually make this a minus. My strategy is, and you can use that, is I try to have this leading coefficient positive as often as possible. It's not always possible, but whenever I have one negative and one positive, I'm always going to put the negative here, and I'm going to put the positive here. That's just what I like to do, and then I don't have to worry about pulling out a negative. Alright, but that's not always possible. When you have two negative numbers, one of these is always going to be negative. But when you have one positive and one negative, as we do here, and as we did in the previous type of problem, you can always make sure that this leading coefficient here is positive. So then I'm going to pull out the GCF here, which is x. And so 2x squared divided by x gives me 2x. Negative 3x divided by x gives me minus 3. Look, I've got 2x minus 3, 2x minus 3. They're the same already, so I know I'm really going to just pull out the GCF, and the only number I can pull out that 2 and 3 share is 1. So I want to make sure I write that down. So 2x divided by 1 is 2x. Negative 3 divided by 1 is still negative 3. So by factoring out a 1, you do not change the quantity at all. It stays the same, because whenever you multiply or divide by 1, you don't change what you're working with. It stays the same. So I've got 2x minus 3. Alright, whatever you see twice, you write once. And then we go and look at outside the parentheses, and it looks like we have x plus 1. So I write that here, and I have x plus 1. And remember, you can always check to see if you're correct by foiling, and you should end up with the exact same trinomial you started with. Okay, and that is, oh, looks like we got one more down here. Let's try this guy. So we've got 3x squared minus 7x minus 6. So we'll find the factors of 3 times negative 6. Pen's getting goofy on me again. So 3 times negative 6. That's going to give me negative 18. Factors of negative 18, that add up to negative 7. Alright, well, let's try with 1 and 18. Alright, we know the larger factor is going to be negative. So we've got 1 plus negative 18. That's going to give me negative 17. That does not work. Alright, we're looking for negative 7. So let's try 2. 2 goes into 18 9 times. Larger factor is negative. 2 plus negative 9 gives me negative 7, which is what we're looking for. So we know we're going to use 2 and negative 9. So we've got two binomials separated by addition. Drop down those outside terms. Plug in your factors, make sure you add the variables to them. So I've got 3x squared minus 9x, then 2x squared minus 6, pull out the GCF. Looks like the GCF is going to be 3x. 3x squared divided by 3x is simply x. Negative 9x divided by 3x is going to give me negative 3. What's the GCF here? Pull out 2. 2x divided by 2 is simply x. Negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. Looks like we're in good shape. We have two binomials that are exactly the same. Come and work with the highlighted yellow pieces in a minute. Two binomials that are exactly the same. I write once whatever's left, which looks like 3x plus 2. I also write, and there's your answer. Okay, that is the end of part 2.